What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, NIO was actually having some pretty good momentum on Friday, but unfortunately tariff news did drop. So that's what killed the momentum right quick. Most likely that it's going to roll over into this upcoming week as well. So something to kind of keep in mind. And so I talked on this on Friday, what really caused this and everything, and some people had some comments on how it affects NIO, even though NIO doesn't really ship any vehicles to the States. And the reasoning is tariffs hurt the economy. So indirectly, it does hurt NIO because it affects the consumer's buying power in China, and thus people will be not really buying that many vehicles as they once were. Like I said, all comes down to indirectly affecting the consumer, and through that as well, just above that GDP. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good for consumers whatsoever. So even though a lot of people are correct that it doesn't actually affect NIO directly, indirectly it does. So I just kind of wanted to explain that. But as far as data points coming up this week, you do have the inflationary data on February the 8th. So that's at 7:30. So forecast right now is actually very, very good. Year over year, 0%, month over month, 0.2. So if it does come anywhere remotely close to that forecast, I see that being taken as very positive for China, and through that, a lot of their stocks. And on a side note, today they did drop their January numbers. So I want to go over that in a second. But going over some data from the States, you have manufacturing data on Monday, a couple of Fed speakers throughout the week, JOLT numbers on Tuesday, you have ultimately right here the typical stuff on Thursday, Friday, non-farm payroll, unemployment rate as well. So definitely a lot of opportunity for the market to be shaken up quite a lot. And the reason why I'm bringing up American data is because that does affect algorithmic trading, and algorithmic trading usually makes up for a good roughly like 60-70% of NIO's daily volume. So ultimately it's going to be a very volatile time, but nonetheless, first thing this morning, 2 a.m., NIO did drop this. So their January numbers. And it looks as though it is 13,863 vehicles in January. And of that, 7,951 is NIO, 5,912 from Onvo. So in my opinion, that is, even though it kind of shows right here an increase of 37.9% year over year, these are very bad numbers. So I think NIO might get really slapped around come Monday, not only because of the tariffs, the overlooming, that's going to affect it quite a lot in the foreseeable future, but this as well, not good whatsoever. So I think all in all, NIO might have a somewhat of a difficult time. I think shorts were maybe anticipating for this data to be good, and clearly I don't think they were anticipating any tariff news. But on Friday they did return 1.69 million shares. Going into this upcoming week, 11.7% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 156.2 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization is 100%. So definitely anticipate them to be fairly active this week, and most likely taking advantage of a lot of the fear associated and surrounding NIO. Moving over to options, so you have seen a little bit more of a uptick in the dollar value in options over the last couple trading days, so that's kind of a good thing. Shows that at least big money's paying attention to it somewhat more than what it was. But as far as this is all the open interest. So with it closing below 450, that means you do have 15,000 in open interest at the January 31st chain. So you might see a little bit of a blip come Monday, but I think just with a lot of the negativity, that might just get brushed under the rug and you won't really see it. Looking forward into this upcoming week, you have 19,000 at the 450, 19,000 at that 5, and then 4,000 at that 4. So you don't really see that much in walls. for whatever reason, let's say NIO does gain some good momentum, starts to retest that 450 range, you'll probably have shorts and market makers trying to suppress it below 450. So that's, again, something just to keep in mind. With it at $4.32, trading between this pivot and this S1, so 425 is going to be that next strong support, and then followed by $4. That $4 has been pretty much diamond support, been tested numerous times over the last couple of weeks, and it did not break. So I think this upcoming week, probably on Monday, or maybe if not on Tuesday, that will be retested again. So just kind of watch for that, because if that does break, then $3.59 will be that following support. No new analyst ratings, but I feel with the numbers that were put out, you might see some ratings this week. So it's been a while. So the last one was, I think, 2 weeks ago. I'll give you a quick overview of that. So yeah, roughly 11 days ago, 350 sell, Goldman Sachs. So there's a lot of analysts that haven't given any ratings in a very long time. So most likely they're just sitting on the sidelines waiting. And I think these numbers that they just put out for January, that might really prompt a lot more ratings. So again, depending on if they're bullish, bearish, and how they come out, that as well will really affect NIO. But going into this upcoming week, with it right now at $4.31, it did bounce off of that 50-day moving average on Friday, but I think even generally speaking, when that does occur, there's a certain level of consolidation. But now you have Trump, that whole Trump tariff looming over it. You have the bad numbers that just came out. So I think, yeah, you will be seeing a little bit of a pullback, and it's already below all the key pivotal moving averages. So I think the one to really watch for is this. So that $4 range, if it does break below that, then yeah, you could see more of a September low once again. So that's where it kind of hit that high threes. And as well, maybe the pullback that might be coming soon this week might help the actual technicals a little bit, only because NIO is considered rather overbought right now. So by it consolidating, it's going to reset that. So if you want to think about like a glass half full kind of scenario, optimism, that's one thing to kind of take note of. So let me know your viewpoint on NIO. What's your thoughts on these numbers? Of course, seasonality probably played a role in it as well, but they didn't really disclose that anywhere or give any further explanation. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint. Throw your price prediction in the comments below where you see it going for this week. Do you think that I'm wrong and it's going to move higher to the 5, or do you think it's going to break down to kind of the high 3s? What's your overall thoughts on all that? Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon where I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, so definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.